The number one thing beginners lack in sim racing: confidence. How well do you execute a profession or a hobby while lacking it? You don't know the tracks, you don't know the cars, you keep spinning, you don't know what to improve, you don't know which settings are right for you or which are the best settings. You can't improve the lap time and everyone overtakes you and you'll be the slowest on track. Let's face it, sim racing is absolutely not beginner friendly. And reality hits when everybody is out competing you. This is your first experience in a racing simulator. Most sims are so realistic, they point out one harsh truth. They do this all very accurately. You suck. And a lot of people might have bought a lot of gear, spent a lot of money on a hobby, and then actually quitting it because it's too hard to get into. This video won't instantly make you a quick or confident driver, but I will explain 5 principles where you can latch onto when you're struggling to get better and to get confident. And trust me, if you endure beginner hell, after a few hundred hours, you really find the depth and beauty in sim racing. Principle number 1. Solving your sim racing problems. If this is something you hate, you better quit right now because you always will be solving problems in sim racing. A newbie or a rookie might face the problem of not knowing where the breaking point is. An esport driver, however, might consider if he needs to put like 48 brake bias whenever he's halfway through the stint on worn tires and has an empty tank, or does he choose 47 or 48% of brake bias? That's the problems esport driver is wondering. So in a way, you're always solving a problem. As humans, we like to solve problems. Think about it. Whatever you're doing, you're kind of always solving some sort of a problem. And when you fixed the basic problems for sim racing, let's say you know the breaking point, you unlock new areas you need to explore and to find solutions for the new problems, the new kind of higher level problems. This is a real problem with all the information you get on YouTube or internet or articles, because sometimes you will get solutions for a very high level problem, and here you are as a beginner trying to figure out if you need 10 liters of fuel or 11 liters of fuel for a qualifying lap. These problems don't need fixing when you're starting out. Now, the biggest problem with sim racing is you get thrown a lot of problems in the beginning of your journey, and it's important to figure out the first steps you need to improve upon yourself. Later in this video, I will talk about the different, the steps you can get into when you're starting out and advancing as you go. Important of this principle is to realize that you improve 1% every time, and that really starts to compound after a longer period. Now, I have a little bit of a hack for beginners, and those are my skill level setups in my Patreon store, link down below. These car setups are beginner friendly and they let you go from level 1, a beginner, to level 5 at my level. These setups I actually use myself, so check them out, link down below. Principle number 2, focus. If you chase down 2 rabbits, how big is the chance you're actually gonna catch one? When you first get into a racing simulator, there is a lot to figure out. You got the user interface, you need to calibrate the wheel, set everything up that it's actually working, buttons, you name it. You're gonna be searching in the UI, where is the calibration, whatever, the list goes on and on. If you constantly change sims in the beginning, you need to set them all up, and every game kind of does it differently, so that's already one big layer of overwhelm. So stick to one sim. And the same goes for the settings. Use a default setting for the game, for your field of view, but also for your force feedback. A lot of times the default settings are pretty good, especially in the older sims. iRacing, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Automobilista, and maybe a few others that are a bit older. So if you get set up everything in your sim, focus on one particular car and focus on one track first and get those reps in. 10 laps, 100 laps, 1,000 laps, to the point it gets boring. Now, if you need racing assists to keep your car on track, do it, but remove the racing assist as soon as possible so you can actually feel the real thing. And the best thing is with the simulations these days is they're so similar, so the experience you're gonna build up in one sim, you can carry over into new ones, because the 100-meter sign of like your braking marker on Spa will be basically the same in every sim. Principle number 3. Race online as soon as possible. Once you've learned the track and the car and you kind of not spinning and you kind of know what to expect when what corner section is gonna come after the straight, you go online. I've seen so many people think they need to improve and improve and improve every freaking day before they allow themselves to go online. But the online multiplayer is something so messy, it's like a Wild West, especially in open multiplayer lobbies, but do them because you're gonna learn sim racing twice, I mean maybe 4 times faster than doing your practice sessions only. A little bit of a warning here. It is not always fun. Let me be even more negative. It is absolutely not fun in the beginning. You will crash. People will take you out. You will get frustrated. And it's even more frustrating if you get only 1 or 2 hours a week to do it. Like the most of us, right? And every sim racer in the beginning went through this. We were not able to keep up. We are getting wrecked all the time. We're exceeding track limits, getting penalties, being too aggressive on the overtaking, running out of fuel just before the race ends, and let's say use the wrong tires after a pit stop. And the list goes on and on and on. The more online races you do, the more you face these issues and learn from them. You're not gonna learn these things in a practice session. And yeah, it's gonna suck. And you're gonna be in last place. And you're gonna be going for repairs 3 times in a row in a 20-minute race. And if I look back at it now, I kind of laugh, but it is really frustrating. But we all went through it in some way. So better get it over quickly and do those online races. And if you're liking this content this far, can you please hit that like button? That really helps me out. And if you want more in-depth articles, videos, or other stuff, check out my Patreon. I have a free member tier there, and I have shared a lot of settings and like overall knowledge that don't make it to YouTube. So check that also out down below. Principle number 4. Get comfortable by being uncomfortable. The sim racing, the online sim racing constantly gives you new challenges and you're facing a lot of issues and problems. Every time you jump on a new track, you need to learn that new track, you go online, or maybe you're racing in the rain, all of a sudden it rains, handling the pressure from drivers that overtake you, or maybe you were a benchmarker and you need to avoid different cars because you have a blue flag constantly waving in your heads-up display. You kind of need to learn these things and adapt to it, and it does really feel uncomfortable, and you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but be uncomfortable and do it, because that's the absolute fastest way to learn it. I've seen so many people that stick to Spa, Nürburgring, and Watkins Glen, and they only do these races. They avoid every other track because I don't know that track. I just don't like. Let me just do Spa only, right? Go there, try new tracks, suck at it, and after that you get better. Principle number 5. It's not about grinding a bunch of laps and keep doing them. It's also about watching your replays and learn from your mistakes. You can watch like videos like this, and there's a lot of these videos out there, but keep an open mind and be learning, because after a while you kind of think you know everything, but you actually don't. I experienced this myself with the last race I did on a pit skill, and I was like, damn, I really need to watch a track guide to improve. And I did, and I found some lap time, and I found some better way to enter my pits and be more consistent like that. So it's very easy to just do, like, I see so many people, they're not improving. They're at the same level, they're never improving because they're not learning anymore. They think, yeah, I can do it, whatever, and it's fine, it's okay. I like to improve everything, like what I said earlier, 1% every time, right? And that's where the real enjoyment is, if you ask me. So the first level you want to get into when you're absolute beginner is focus on the braking points, figure out the proper racing line, and try to not spin. Then a level 2, let's say you get more experience, you improve racing line, you have better brake inputs, steering input timing, manual shifting, lower traction control settings, and try not to cut the track. Then after that you get a lot of other stuff you want to figure out. So you can see the list, like, and this is just like a small fraction. There's even way more things you get into. Now, like I said before, I think beginner setups can really help you out in Assetto Corsa Competizione only. I don't have them for other sims yet, but I really believe that beginner setups you can really help you to not spin, have a better racing line, and then also in the different levels can help you out. In ACC I also have a ghost pack. I also have free ones in my Patreon to test them out, to get the racing line under control and all that stuff. So thanks for watching.